Hello, my name is Chase Dansbury, and today I will be doing my video project for Astronomy 1010 on Yuri Gagarin for my professor, Professor Byrne, and I will be talking all from his birth all the way to his death on what he has done. I will also have to do a creative component project, and the creative component project I have chosen was a travel brochure, or similar to a travel brochure, on the life of Yuri Gagarin. So I hope you enjoy, and I will go into as many facts as I can. Thank you very much, and I will now begin. So, Yuri Alexeyevich Gagarin was born on March 9th, 1934 in the village of Klusino in the Oblast of Smolensk, Russia. Gagarin was the third child born in his family, as he had two older siblings and one younger sibling. When Gagarin got older, he started to work as an apprentice as a foundryman at a metal works place. Gagarin also went to get an education and some training at a technical school in Saratov. While he was in school, according to the European Space Agency, he joined the Aero Club and learned how to fly light aircrafts as a hobby, and that would take up an interesting part of his time. After Gagarin graduated from the technical school in Saratov, he joined a flight training program called the Orenburg Military Pilot School in 1955. And while at school, Gagarin met his wife Valentina Goryacheva, and after he graduated from the pilot school in 1957, he was assigned by the Soviet military to go to the Lulstady Air Force Base in Murmansk Oblast, which is located all the way in northwestern Russia. In 1959, Gagarin became a senior lieutenant in the Air Force, and during the 1960s, the Soviet Union launched a secret program where they wanted to send a human to space. And they chose 20 candidates for this program, and one of them was Gagarin. Luckily, Gagarin was chosen again, and according to the European Space Agency, for an elite training group, and this elite training group was known as the Sochi 6, who would make up the first cosmonauts of the Vostok program. The Vostok program being the first program that would launch humans into space for the Soviet Union. And while Gagarin was there, he underwent physical and psychological experiments, as you want your cosmonauts to obviously be healthy and also be fit and mentally prepared. And they want to make sure that this flight experiment would be successful. And when Gagarin completed his training, it was between him and German Titov, another cosmonaut, but Gagarin was chosen for the launch instead of Titov out of the 20 candidates also, and 17 out of the 20 people actually wanted Gagarin to fly into space, and he was also very short, only 5'2", which is very short for a man, and which was good for the spacecraft, and he was also very intelligent. On April 12, 1961, Yuri Gagarin entered the famous Vostok 3Ka-3 spacecraft, and according to NASA, he blasted off from the Bainakor Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. The reason why Kazakhstan is because it's south of Russia, and also it is closer to the equator, which is more ideal for a spacecraft to launch. And then he became the first human to go into space. And the Vostok was only 4 3/4 tons, and inside it was only 2 meters wide, which isn't very wide at all. And Gagarin was launched into space at 9:07 Moscow time, and he was in orbit for 1 hour and 29 minutes. And while Gagarin was in orbit around the Earth, he saw Earth from space and said it was very beautiful, and that we the people on Earth should protect it. And I think that was very admirable of him to say something like that. And there was also consideration of, if an unfortunate case that re-entry thrusters failed, and according to the Planetary Society, Gagarin would have to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere naturally after 10 days. But luckily for Gagarin, nothing happened, and that was obviously the best thing that could have happened. And he ejected safely from the Vostok and landed in the Saratov region of the Soviet Union. Gagarin landed safely at specifically 10:55 Moscow time, and there was no immediate announcement, but there was an announcement made at 12:25 to the public, and the Soviets celebrated him as a national hero for the Soviet Union and was considered an icon all throughout the Soviet Union. He was awarded the Order of Lenin, which is one of the highest awards that you can achieve as a Soviet, and also had statues built for him, and which is very Soviet, and he was very dedicated. And even to this day, many people still look up to Gagarin, even young kids from whether it's in Japan, Russia as of today, or the USA, many people celebrated him. And according to the Space Foundation, Gagarin's reports on space and experience during the space journey served as the basis for studies aimed at increasing length of space exploration, its safety, and its human effects on humans in space, etc. And this was very important for the Soviet Union as well as the United States, who they were competing against in the space race. And afterwards, the Soviet officials did not want him to re-enter any spacecraft or any aircraft at all because they didn't want him to die. But unfortunately, the Soviet officials' realities came true, as Gagarin would die on March 27th, 1968 at the age of 34, leaving his wife behind in a plane crash in the town of Kiryazh, and Gagarin was laid to rest at the Red Square in Moscow, and it was only for the most significant Soviets. And though his influence even on young people, like I have stated, have still lived on today, even with the incredible achievements of other cosmonauts, for example, Germain Titov or Neil Armstrong. Now, I would also like to show you my creative component project that I have made. This creative component project is the life of Yuri Gagarin, but this is the Soviet Union flag, a red hammer and sickle, as the Soviet Union was communist, and this is Russia's current day flag. And I also tried to make said visit Yuri Gagarin, very astronomy like kind of symbols and stuff like that. But we saw up here, this was the house he lived in Klushino, and this was a nice little blue house, a very average looking house during the Soviet times. And this is him in his Soviet Air Force military uniform, and he was carrying a bird. And this is him in the Vostok and in his space gear. And this is the Red Square, which is where he was laid to rest. And this is where all other important Soviet officials were laid to rest at. So I hope you enjoyed my project, and I hope you learned a lot. Thank you for listening.